covered today. I'll be covering introduction to selling on Amazon, and then I'll be handing over to Seng Wei, our account manager, who's going to talk about crafting the perfect launch on Amazon.com. And then we will have with us service providers from 3 different areas. With Accolade IP, they will be covering Trademark. And then we have One Export, who's going to share with us logistics. And we have Registrar Corp as well, who's here to talk about regulations as well as compliance. And lastly, we will have a Q&A sessions with all the service providers together with our account manager. And lastly, we will have short mentoring sessions where all of you will go around the booths that our service provider as well as for Amazon, you guys will go around and ask questions, and our subject matter experts will be able to come and provide their advice and speak with you and answer your queries. Okay, with that, let me just jump right into it. I'll be covering introduction to selling on Amazon. I'll be sharing with you all about equipping you with the essential know-hows and tips on how you can get started with selling on Amazon. Just a little note that all the information shared today is proprietary to Amazon. And before I jump into the content today, let me take some time to actually introduce you to our vibrant Facebook community. If you're still not part of it, please scan the QR code on the screen to actually join our Facebook group. This is a group where all of us are updating each other about Amazon activities, and also for the seller community to actually help each other where you have issues, because sellers themselves, they experience certain things on Amazon.com and they are able to actually give a lot of helpful insights to all of you. This is a super vibrant community of existing sellers as well as prospect sellers. So do join it. I'm part of the admin team as well. And if at any point in time in your selling journey, you have any questions, you have any queries that you need actual help, you can actually type your questions into the Facebook community group, and then our admin team will try our best to actually answer your questions. And we'll also be sharing a lot of helpful tips and advice where we can actually help you in your selling journey on Amazon.com. And why sell on Amazon? We'll be reaching a widespread customer base of over 300 million worldwide active customers, and we have about 200 million Prime members, and on top of that, we are present in 20 plus stores worldwide. And this is the exposure that your brand can have by selling on Amazon. So how exactly can I get started with selling on Amazon? We'll be talking about the seller journey a lot today, and it will always begin with learning more about selling on Amazon, like what you are actually doing right now, and then proceed with registering with us. And then after the registration process, all of you will be ready to actually list your products and launch your store on Amazon.com. And then they will actually enter into a subsequent stage of brand building, where branding is more important, and then to be able to actually widen your reach and then to scale upwards. Okay, so when we take a closer look at the selling journey, as you can see here, with the detailed breakdown, you'll actually easily be able to track your progress throughout the entire launch journey. I will not be delving into the exact details of all these little stages, but if you'd like to understand more and read more about what exactly happens at each stage, our account manager is able to guide you in this, and also we have very, very useful resources on our sell.amazon page, so you can visit that, and there will be a very useful resource called Perfect Launch Jumpstart Playbook, which you can access and learn, because this is an extensive playbook with a lot of information that you would need in your selling journey. And becoming a brand owner on Amazon, what it actually means to be a brand owner. First and foremost, it is selling original products with your own branding, and also you own actually the end-to-end processes. So from producing to actually sourcing for the goods and then selling the goods. And also we like to put a note here that there will be no reselling of branded products, and we will actually encourage selling products with a US trademarks, because we actually and Amazon actually we actually consider you as a brand owner when you're registered with us on our brand registry, and people who are, and brands who are on our brand registry have a US trademark. And actually, Amazon actually protects brand owners who are registered in the brand registry, which also means that if other people are actually selling your products, they will be flagged and reported. And also with when you're registered with us on the brand registry, you actually have access to a full suite of Amazon tools on Seller Central, which actually comes in very handy when you're doing brand building, such as A+ content. And overview about a seller code of conduct. Being an Amazon seller, we do not encourage to operate more than one selling account on Amazon without a legitimate business need. And also, we actually do not encourage to actually attempt to influence customer ratings, feedback, and reviews, which actually also means that you cannot get your family members to actually help you write positive reviews. And do take note that, as I mentioned previously, that counterfeit or actually illegal replicated goods are not suited for FBA, which also means that if caught, you might be potentially flagged and your account might be blocked. Okay, know how to. So we must know about the costs that are involved in selling on Amazon. Allow me to share more a bit about cost components. We can actually break the costs into 4 main components. First, the selling plan. We do have 2 plans that Amazon actually provides right now. The first is the individual selling plan, where Amazon takes a cut of each item that is sold. And then we have another one, which is the professional selling plan, which it costs $39.99, but Amazon now actually is having a promotion. We will actually waive off the first 6 months of your professional selling plan for people who are actually registering with us for the first time Amazon global selling for Philippine sellers. And that would mean that you'll be charged USD $1 for the first month, and then USD $0 for the subsequent 5 months with us. And then second is the referral fees. Amazon actually charges a percentage fees on items sold, and the amount varies actually across different categories, but typically ranges from about 8% to about 17%. And third is the fulfillment fees. This is only applicable if you actually opt to use fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, which I will just talk about more in a bit. And lastly, all other costs. You may actually incur additional fees depending on the situation, and other optional programs which are designed to actually help you increase sales. And do note that when you register and set up a seller account with us, you will need to provide a credit card that will actually charge you the fees, and a bank account where we actually deposit the sales proceeds. Some of the fees like referral and fulfillment fees are actually automatically deducted from the sales proceeds. But here I would like to take the opportunity to actually let you guys know that Amazon is actually accepting debit cards as well. As long as your debit card is able to actually accept international transactions, it should work, and you will be able to create an account with us. Okay, as I mentioned just now, we will be actually launching a 6-month discount, which is the fee waiver, which is you'll be paying USD $1 for the first month and USD $0 for the next 5 months. And these are actually this is actually open to all people on the professional selling plan, and it's valid for 6 months from when you register with us. And the fee waiver will be active for all sellers who complete your registration between now till April 2024. And if you'd like to know more and read more about the fee waiver, because there are terms and conditions that come with it, you can actually scan the QR code on the screen and read more. This will actually lead you to a help page where there will be more information provided on this fee waiver. Sorry, just give me a minute. Alright, okay, sorry about that. Know how to read. Now we want to know what to sell. So what can you actually sell on Amazon? Well, we offer the ability for sellers to list a variety of categories on Amazon.com. Not all categories are actually open to all sellers. Some will require a professional selling plan, and some would actually require additional approvals to sell. It is important for us to understand these policies and what the restricted product categories are, as Amazon will actually require you to submit approvals and necessary documentations before you start selling. And you can find more information on our website, or once you're registered with us on Seller Central, you'll be able to find more information on that. And actually all of us here are at different phases of our selling journey. Some of us have a product, some of us do not. Hence, actions taken at each stage might differ, but the tools that can be used are actually the same. So you may actually use the Product Opportunity Explorer tool. It's actually an internal tool that is made available for free for all sellers under the professional selling plan. Some external tools that you can use are Helium 10 as well as Jungle Scout. However, for Helium 10 as well as Jungle Scout, they all come at a fee. And for sellers with a product, these tools can actually help you with your competitive research to find out the keywords surrounding your product, how many products are competing for these search queries, and also how many reviews do these products actually have, and what type of sales volume are these kind of products actually getting. All these key insights will help you actually better understand how to price your products, what kind of keywords to use, and how much stock you should actually inbound. And for sellers that are still in search for a product to sell, which means that you're not sure what you want to sell, you can actually use these tools to actually discover unmet demand, which means that these identifying gaps that are not yet met, and be able to cater to these needs of the consumers, and find niche opportunities, and to actually assess your competition. And also to find out what customers are actually searching for, because when customers actually shop, they actually plug in different queries, and with all this information and customer data that is made available to you, you'll be able to actually identify certain trends. For example, in like apparels or like certain categories, you'll be able to actually identify these things and leverage all these opportunities and all these insights to create a product for yourself. And I cannot emphasize enough how important to actually choose the right product to sell, because one of the common questions that a lot of account managers get is, what should I sell that will actually do well? Frankly speaking, we do see opportunities across a lot of categories, but it also depends on how much you want to invest, and also how you strategize your business out after all. And just now I shared a touch a bit about Product Opportunity Explorer tool. It is a tool that actually allows sellers to explore customer demand and competitive gaps for new product ideas. This is a super useful tool, and it's free for all sellers that are on the professional selling plan. Our account manager, Sing Wei, will be going through review in depth on how actually you can use this Product Opportunity Explorer tool. If you have the opportunity to catch him, you can learn more about it. I will give you a background about it, and also just now I mentioned that you can actually, using this tool, you can explore a lot of up-to-date data and accurate data on customer needs, as well as current selection on Amazon. And by identifying these search terms, it allows sellers like yourself to understand what the current popular demand is, and what are the current popular product categories, to actually allow you to launch in-demand products that will do well. And although you can actually sell almost anything on Amazon, a good place to start from for an aspiring e-commerce store owner is with products that are easy to package and ship, and have branding potential, and are affordable for customers to actually have a long shelf life. You can scan this QR code to learn more about the tips on choosing the right products. I'll just pause it for a moment. Okay. And I would just like to bring a seller story in. Meet Cyril. He's actually a 7-figure Amazon seller, and also our Amazon seller ambassador. Actually, at the start of his selling journey, he was actually very passionate about golf at that point in time, and Cyril was actually keen on selling something that was related to his hobby. And he also later learned that it was actually important to actually carry out proper research based on keywords, revenue calculations, and also analyzing product reviews to ensure that the product is actually able to sell well online before actually launching the product. And taking his experience with the golf club brush as an example, so Cyril actually realized in hindsight that there were more than 400 similar listings for golf club brushes back in 2018. And all the listings actually look similar with only a slight differentiation in branding. From there, he actually learned that it was very important to choose a product category that had unique differentiation to his product so that it actually stands out among the sea of competitors. And I think he can't emphasize enough about how you have to do thorough product research. And actually, he actually did very well. And then it is also because he did his research and also to actually identify and know what to sell through his extensive research done on products. And other than the tools that I mentioned previously, you can also discover more tips on our What to Sell page. Here's a QR code that you can scan. There are a lot of helpful resources. There are a lot of bestseller lists and some category guides that you can actually read, take home to read. These are really useful resources that actually Amazon provides to you free of charge. You can just read through these resources, and if you have any questions at any point in time, do head to the Facebook community and post your questions there. We'll be with you and answer your questions to our best of our abilities. And these are actually resources that actual sellers on Amazon use during their launches or when they're actually selling on Amazon. So these category guides or these guide resources are actually curated to help sellers like yourself to achieve success on Amazon. And next, I think I talked a bit about fulfillment by Amazon just now. I will be sharing more about it. So there are actually two main ways of how you can actually deliver your products using fulfillment by Amazon. So there are two ways. One is fulfilled by merchant, another is fulfillment by Amazon, which otherwise known as FBA. So fulfilled by merchant, which means that you're fulfilling the orders yourself. You pack the orders yourself. You answer customer questions in their own local language within 24 hours, and also provide customers a return address information in the US. The next is fulfillment by Amazon, which I will be delving into. So what are the 6 benefits of fulfillment by Amazon? Amazon actually processes the order for you, pack it and deliver it to your customer, and answer all customer queries on your behalf in their local language. And lastly, Amazon will manage the return process for you. And a lot of sellers actually face issues with returns actually when they opt for fulfillment by merchant. So we always highly encourage all of you to opt for fulfillment by Amazon because Amazon actually help you pack, ship your products and help you manage the whole return process. And actually with FBA, you can scale up your business very quickly, because when running a business is really hard enough. So with the day-to-day operations, we'll actually break it down a lot, but with FBA, all these will be taken care of, and so that you can place your focus on more important business decisions as well as customer relationship management and other more important processes in your business. And also meet Steve. I'd just like to bring in another seller story. He's a successful seller, a founder of a fashion brand named Petite Simone. Launched in 2021, they're a Singapore brand that actually continues to see continued growth of 80 to 90% growth in monthly sales in the US. And actually they hit a 6-figure sales in less than a year. And with his experience selling on Amazon, he cannot emphasize enough about the importance of FBA. And I actually mentioned to you previously, with sellers, there are actually many aspects to a business, and you may be dealing with many, many moving parts, and logistics is one of the key areas that is extremely crucial to the business, yet it is the most time consuming. As part of FBA, so what Amazon does just now, I mentioned as well, it helps you manage your customer inquiries, returns, refunds, so you actually can focus your efforts on growing your business. So with FBA, it actually saves you a lot of time, and it allows you to scale your business more easily because you'll be able to focus your attention on the more important business decisions. And last but not least, let's see how others do it. Sellers like yourself also started off small, but enjoy success on Amazon. So allow me to share some commonly asked questions by many of the aspiring sellers. So one of the first questions are, is the US too crowded for new sellers? And actually the answer is no. Like what I shared just now with Petite Simone, I have another example here called Abound Lifestyle. It's another example of a Singapore homegrown decor brand that actually hit 7-digit sales in their first year. And other than Abound Lifestyle as well as Petite Simone, these are just two amongst many successful stories. And bringing it back closer to home, our seller ambassador Joseph, he's from the Philippines and he actually enjoyed success on Amazon. Joseph is the founder of Argan 40 and he emphasized that as an emerging brand and startup, actually Amazon played a large role in enabling them to actually be on the same level playing field as the rest of the established brands. So it's actually completely possible for small brand sellers like yourself to achieve success on Amazon. Another small independent brand that became the #1 lip scrub on Amazon is Handmade Heroes. So actually Lindsay launched in Amazon.com in 2015 and in 2016 their halal vegan lip scrub actually rose to the top 10 lip scrubs on Amazon.com. And actually Lindsay attributes this to the fact that Amazon Global Selling actually levels the playing field for small brands like us to be on the same playing field as established brands, and for good unknown independent brands with good value propositions and good quality like hers to actually succeed on Amazon. And why do you like? A lot of people will ask me, why do you like being an Amazon Global and a seller on Amazon Global Selling? So actually, from being a digital nomad to actually being your own boss, and also working across the globe to actually have more time with your family as well. These are some of the great things that come with selling on Amazon and being an e-commerce business owner can enjoy. And let me share more about new seller incentives. So what's in it for new sellers like yourself, and what is Amazon doing to actually help you cushion your experience as a new seller? It is only made available to sellers that are registered on our brand registry. To help you ease the cost and the risk of starting with Amazon.com, we actually have introduced new seller incentive program, which consists of 3 types of promotion in the 3 pillars of brand, business, as well as product related incentives. So the first element in this program, it's for new sellers who are identified as brand owners with Amazon brand registry, like what I mentioned previously. Within the first 6 months, can actually enjoy benefits for about 5% bonus on up to $1 million in eligible sales. So that's about up to 50K in bonus. And second, you will actually be granted USD 200 in credits for fulfillment fees using Amazon Global Logistics. And you also be auto-enrolled in our FBA new selection program, which actually allows you to get free storage, liquidations, and return processing for new to FBA products. And last but not least, you will get a $50 credit for sponsored products on CPC ads if you're opting for sponsored ads. And now, if you're actually interested to go global with Amazon, please scan the QR code and register your interest with us. By actually scanning the QR code and filling up our 3-minute survey, you will actually stand to receive the all-important 1-to-1 free consultation with our account manager, and also have the perfect launch in 90 days playbook. You will be contacted by our sales team for a non-obligatory in-depth introduction and a consultation session to actually take your business global. And our account managers will be sharing more in detail about the incentive program, which I've shared earlier previously. If you have any queries for them, you can ask them as well. So you guys can actually scan the QR code. And moving on, all of you must be wondering, navigating the registration process in Amazon is not easy. But we do have a professional selling account registration guidance module, which actually our Amazon expert will be guiding you through step by step on how to actually register with us. It's a live demo session, so you can actually proceed to actually join this. It's free of charge and it's a live demo session. So our Amazon expert will actually walk you through step by step on how to actually complete the registration process itself. And it happens pretty often. The next session would be on 4th December from 2 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. It's done online, so it's totally possible for you to join anywhere in Philippines or around the world. And last but not least, I would also like to take this opportunity to share with everyone that we have many webinars lined up for you guys in the year of 2024 or beyond, or even in December actually, with covering various topics such as listing, branding, A+ content, or even like what I mentioned previously, right, the registration, professional selling plan account guidance. So this QR code will actually help you find out. Let me just, I realized that. This is the QR code. So actually by scanning this QR code, you will actually be able to be redirected to our Philippines site. You can actually look at events, upcoming events. So once you look at upcoming events, there are many modules that are over there. You can actually see what are the different topics covered on different dates. It's updated on a monthly basis. So for now, you will be able to see the late November to December's webinars that are lined up for sellers like yourself. You will be able to see classifications like for aspiring sellers or for new sellers or for existing sellers, and you can sign up accordingly. It's completely free with Amazon experts of each topic, so you can sign up of any topic of your interest. And with that, I've come to the end of my sharing. I hope that this sharing gave you a little glimpse into what it's like to be an Amazon seller. And I know I've shared many links with all of you. If in any case, if you didn't catch any of the QR codes, you can just approach me. I'll be here, and I'll give you the link, and you'll be able to access them. And now I'll just like to take the opportunity to pass the time over to my account manager, Sing Wei, who's going to share with us more about crafting the perfect launch on Amazon.com. Sing Wei, please.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Thanks for taking your time off to come here and join up this event. As you can see, actually, if anyone have attended earlier events, this event attendees are actually much smaller than what we usually have, because this time we actually want to focus on brand owners and rather than just general publics who are interested in some global selling. The intention, because is we have seen a lot of greater success coming from already brand owners in the Philippines. That's why we are really spending a lot of having an exclusive event for brand owners. One second, my laptop is okay. Okay. Okay, let's get started. So, I think, as I mentioned earlier on, what we wanted to share today is how important it is to be a brand owner on Amazon. Hence, we are having this closed door event, sending exclusive invite to our sellers who are actually a brand owner in Philippines right now, right? So, brands from around the world, over 500,000 brands actually enrolled in Amazon Brand Registry. And these people are actually enjoying a lot more benefits than other sellers who are just selling a random product that has no brands. And why I'll be covering a lot more on this. Okay, so 59% of overseas consumers choose familiar brands. Let's say we talk about I want to drink a hot drink in the morning. What do we usually think of? Think of Ovaltine, we think of Milo. But would that be, probably in Philippines there's Table, something more closer to the Filipinos' hearts. However, ultimately we all relate to a brand, right? So 80% of customers discover new brands and products on Amazon, and people are willing to try new brands, especially if they have a great story to tell, they have something closer to consumer hearts. How can you actually engage your customer through your brand stories? 50% of US customers are more willing to discover new brands, and 1.5 times of brand owner increase sales 1.5 times faster than other sellers on average. So, and I think I spoke to some of you why at the very start state, if I'm asking you if you're a brand owner, because we want you to create your brand, get your brand registry at the start to make sure you are able to maximize your brand recognition the moment the first customer purchases your product, and subsequently, how can they find your product subsequently, right? So it's important to get your brand registry right from the start. So on Amazon brand registry, how do Amazon actually help you with making sure your brand is successful? First, we build a brand with you, then we grow the brand together, and lastly, we protect. This time around, I won't be covering too much on protect because that's something that we can discover more next time. But I want to focus a lot more on this build and grow. So A+ content is something the brand owner can use. Amazon Vine program, brand customer reviews, and having a stores. This is a tool that only brand owner have access to, right? So if you do not have a physical store, how do you sell your product? You do not have a promoter to be standing there to tell customer how great is your product. It's made in-house, it's exclusive recipe that you have for your customers. How can you better sell your product without having someone standing there and tell you what's all the benefits? You need a great detail page. And further from detail page, you can actually have A+ content to tell your brand stories, to tell your product benefits. And this is something that's been created for brand owner only, right? Hence, as you can see, an average of 5.6. Having A+ content actually on a detail page can help you to increase your sales by 5.6%. And is this a lot? It may seem little, but however, when it comes to helping customer to make a decision faster, this is really a lot more helpful. So Amazon Vine is a program that helps brand owner to send products to influencers within the Amazon network to write reviews for your product. And this is only entitled to brand owner, right? So even this time round, it's only recently actually there's a new Vine program that allows you to send products out, 1 to 2 products, 1 to 2 parent ASIN out to customer at a cheaper rate. So Amazon is constantly trying to help brand owner to kickstart their business. Amazon is constantly trying to provide customer with the brand that they want to look for as well. And if you are already a seller on Shopee, Lazada, physical store, what's the best way to get customer to purchase a product? Word of mouth. And in online context, what's word of mouth? It's basically reviews, right? So if a product gets enough reviews, it may not, sometimes people will give you bad reviews based on personal preference, right? However, if you get an overall great reviews, this is actually the word of mouth that you're gathering online. Brand customer reviews, this is something that you can find within your brand registry platform as well. As a brand owner, you get to talk to customer, you get to explain to customer, you get to engage the customer reviews and improve the customer experience. It may be because the customer used the product wrongly, it may be because the customer do not understand the benefits of the product and hence he thought that it is meant for something else. This is how we allow brand owner to share. And lastly, having a brand store, right? Brand store, as you can see, this allows you to tell your brand story. This allows you to feature your product in big category, in terms of lifestyle. How do you want to engage customer? Is there a certain age group that you want customer to be purchasing different kind of products? And this is a festive season range of item. You want to feature the product to your customer. Right? So just now it's building, right? You need a great feature to build your store. You need a great feature to build your brand with on Amazon. And how do you grow? How do you make sure that customer get to engage with your brand, right? So brand analytics. So this is something you can find on Seller Central after you have your brand registry. So this allows you to look at Amazon search terms. This is the one question that a lot of sellers actually ask me. How do I know what customers are actually searching for? Once you have an Amazon brand registry, go look at the Amazon search term. Do you want to be a complement? If your competitor is you're selling a water bottle, do you want to be a hydro flask? Is hydro flask the top search words? If it is, do you want to consider buying Amazon ads on those search terms, right? So you can even look at item comparison, demographics, who's buying your product, market basket report, looking at how customers actually check out with your product. Do they check out single item? Do they check out with multiple items? And even down to repeat purchases. How often do your customers actually purchase your product? Moving on to Amazon advertising, I think no one here is not familiar with advertising. We are all constantly being targeted by someone as long as you're on your mobile phone. So how can you be the one targeting your customer when they shop on Amazon.com, right? So sponsored product is something that everyone can use. However, once you have a brand store, this allows you to have a sponsored brand, right? Later I will probably show you what sponsored brand, how does sponsored brand look like. You have a sponsored video, brand video to tell your brand story, and sponsored display. How does sponsored display works? Have you ever shopped on Amazon.com? And now if you are in Philippines watching YouTube, watching maybe reading some blogs, you realize that the product you are viewing on Amazon.com earlier on appears at the side of the page. And this is how Amazon sponsored display actually continue to help you follow your customer through their internet viewing process, and constantly remind customer that your product is around. Do you want to reconsider and purchase the product? So this is sponsored brands. This is how it looks like on Amazon.com. Over there on the top, that's how a sponsored brand appears. You can even choose your top 3 products you want customer to see, tell a brand taglines. On mobile phone, this is how it looks like. These are all very strategic placement. This is definitely how customers actually interact on the website itself. So this is where sponsored brand video works. And sponsored display, yeah, as I mentioned, so the product will actually follow you through as you are browsing your internet. So what's required to be Amazon brand registry owner? Later I will let Accolade IP, our service provider today, to share a bit more on how the process to get it done. But what's required is a US trademark, and in the website is basically called USPTO. I can leave the airtime to Accolade IP to share more. So Amazon brand registry is separate from your Amazon Seller Central. Search Amazon brand registry and you'll be directed to this page. As long as you look to register, you are required to have your USPTO trademark. A pending trademark will do. You do not need a approved trademark. So just get IP company agency to help you to apply and make sure you get your pending trademark. Alright, so the next step is really a most common question that people ask me. How do I know my product is going to be successful on Amazon? This doesn't give you 100% confidence that your product is going to be successful. This doesn't tell you that by doing this, the same formula that your competitor do, you will be successful, because there's a lot of effort that comes into building a brand, right? If you're a brand owner in Philippines, it's the same. You may go Shopee and find another water bottle next to you telling you their water bottle is even better, right? So there's no 100% successful recipe. However, this is something that allows you to understand your competitor landscape better. So Product Opportunity Explorer is a tool that's available if you are on a professional platform. And how do you search? How do you look at an example? So over here you can look at 4 different view. First, you look at the customer searches, you look at the niches, look at the unmet demand and new products. So over here, quickly go and explain how do you use the tool itself. You can look at category search, you can look at the niches in the category, and even search term. It can be random, like water bottle, insulated water bottle. You can look at the sizes, 16-ounce water bottle. You can even go down to metal materials, baby for who, functional. How do you want to use it? Outdoor water bottle. This is how you actually search. Over here, after you search, they'll provide you certain data points for product to search term to insights to trends. Later I'll be sharing an example. Then you can even go to product first research. Know your competitor product and go and look at their performance to a large extent. Amazon will not be able to share certain data point, but it should be able to give you certain data point to have certain assumptions in this case. Alright, so let me go to the actual web page to explain to you how it works, right? So I think just now, Gwen has been sharing with you the one website and the one link that you need to know to be a successful Amazon seller is this website here. Alright, so just remember this, any kind of resources can be, you can get any kind of resources from here. So you are a new seller, go from start. You are an existing seller, could look at grow. Then is there anything you want to learn? Is something that you are missing out? You feel like you need more knowledge? This is the place to go, right? So as I was sharing just now, you need to go Product Opportunity Explorer. This is a test account to showcase Product Opportunity Explorer. I don't have a lot of tools, so I only can show you this thing, right? So this is where it is. And as I mentioned to you, just search water bottle, and you can actually see the different top search terms that customers are actually looking at, right? So depends on your own product range. You can actually key in. You can look for something the most similar to you. Selling a hot water bottle, you want to thermos, this is a branded, this is a brand. If you want to compete with Hydro Flask, click into it, and you can actually have a quick understanding what's the search volume, what's the number of ASIN that contribute to top click products, right? So there may be 1 million water bottle, but what's the number of ASIN that contribute to top search? Should the number be bigger, means that you have a lot more competitor, that a lot of people, customers are willing to consider. If the number is smaller, it means that this range has less competitor. Is it easier for you to create a product to compete with them? Potentially yes, because you have less competitor to fight with, right? The average price, the average units sold for the last 360 days. It goes down even to the ASIN level. ASIN is also a common known SKU. In most people understanding, it's called SKU. So this is where you should know every single product on Amazon has an ASIN number. So this is how it's being defined. You can even go down into the launch date, the click count, click share. Just let me zoom out a bit. You can look at the customer sentiment, even your competitions. Alright, so this is the tool that I would like you to use if you are a brand owner to understand your competitor landscape, right? So earlier on when I mentioned what's ASIN, how do you find your competitor ASIN? Go to a search page and just Control F and search for ASIN, and this is the ASIN number every product should have, right? So this is how you can find ASIN number on Amazon.com. So far, any questions? Any specific questions? All right, we can take more questions later on. Just wanted to quickly share with you what I shared earlier on. This is the one web page that you need to know if you are trying to find out more about selling on Amazon. So this is something that we created for the Philippine community. This is important information. These are all the webinars that Gwen shared earlier on that you should sign up if you are interested in specific tools or even resources, past events that we have, and even better, these are all the useful resources that Gwen have shared earlier on. One thing that I would like to bring you to your attention is if you have not registered for an account, look at Beginner Guide to Sell on Amazon. However, if you have already created an account, go to Perfect Jumpstart and Launch Playbook. This is where we will explain to you how to launch in 90 days. 90 days is a best practices. We don't enforce you to launch in 90 days, but this is the best practices from start to end. How do you launch? What do you need to do so that you are you keep yourself accountable, you keep yourself on track to launch in a better way, right? So most of you will fall either one of this category, and these are the steps. So you can see, follow these steps, and I can take you through on after you register an account, or walk you through what's the critical, what's the essential, what's certain things that you take care of, especially compliance. Is there something you take note of? Is there something about trademark that you should do first, like I mentioned earlier on? Yeah, these are certain things that I'll be able to provide you with more insights once you start, once you have a registered account. I will stop here. We will be around also, so I'll leave the time to some of our service providers here, which are critical to make sure that you ship your product. First you get your brand registry right, then you ship your product, and lastly, how do you receive your money? Alright, I think this is the last part that I think everyone will be very interested. I'll let the service provider do it. Accolade IP, get this.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Nina Bonsol, and I am a senior international intellectual property lawyer at Accolade IP. So, I'm actually here with my colleagues from Accolade IP. I have here attorney Josephine Go. She is the managing partner of Accolade Philippines and the USA trademark head as well of Accolade. I also have here Pauline, Abby, Timothy, and Jaden. So they're my colleagues from Accolade IP. So I'm pleased to meet all of you. Hello. Yes. So for this for this afternoon session, I would be leading the discussion on the topic filing USPTO trademark applications with Accolade IP for Amazon sellers. So let me begin with by giving you a background. Oh, for those of you who are not yet familiar with USPTO, so USPTO means United States Patent and Trademark Office. So this is where we file all the trademark applications in the United States. So yeah, I will be giving you a background of what we do at Accolade IP. So Accolade IP stands as a dedicated intellectual property service provider, extending exclusive discounted rates tailored specifically for Amazon sellers. So we're proud to say that Accolade IP is a part of the Amazon service provider network. So it is by virtue of this collaboration and partnership with Amazon that we get invited to talk at Amazon events like this. And it is also by virtue of our partnership with Amazon that we're able to give exclusive discounted rates for Amazon sellers. So an Accolade IP will help you navigate through the complexities of filing trademark applications in the United States. So register your trademark in the US for as low as $625 US. This is a special rate for Amazon sellers. So this $625 US fee code includes the official fees as well as our professional fees. That is from the preparation of the application forms and then up to the filing and ultimately up to the issuance of the certificate of trademark registration. But this fee, of course, still excludes the 12% VAT, the bank charges, and any potential fees related to responding to an office action if required or necessary. So if you will check our website, the regular rate for US trademark services amount to 45,500 pesos. But as I mentioned earlier, for Amazon sellers, we're offering our trademark services for only $625 US. And that's approximately equivalent to only 34,600 based on the conversion rate today. So malaki po talaga ang savings kapag Amazon sellers yung clients. So who among you here is interested in registering your brand on Amazon? I'm assuming all of you are because you have allotted a portion of your time to be with us here today. So it is crucial to have your brand registered with the USPTO. And why is that? Because having an active registered trademark is a requirement with the USPTO is a requirement before you can enroll your brand with the Amazon brand registry. However, if you haven't completed the registration process yet, having a pending application in the USPTO will also suffice for Amazon brand registry. So here we present a selection of our clients' trademarks that have been successfully registered within the Amazon brand registry. It's important to note that while several of these marks have completed the registration process, others are presently pending approval in the USPTO and have yet to be fully registered. So these are some of the marks. I hope to include and see your brands here next time. So just to reiterate, it is your mark or your brand need not be immediately or instantly registered with the USPTO because a pending application with the USPTO will suffice. So let's now go to the advantages of USPTO trademark registration for Amazon brand registry. So first advantage would be enhanced brand protection. So having an active registered trademark gives you a more legal protection against unauthorized sellers or users of your brand name and or logo. And then another advantage would be powerful search and reporting tools. So with the brand registry, you gain access to Amazon's advanced search and reporting tools, which makes it easier for you to monitor or track potentially infringing listings. And if there are these potentially infringing listings, you may actually report them to Amazon for appropriate action, such as the taking down of these listings. And the third advantage would be customer trust. So a registered trademark adds legitimacy and trust to your brand, which could possibly influence customer buying decisions. So we now go to the requirements for filing a trademark application in the US with Accolade. So first is to initiate a comprehensive preliminary search and ensure accurate assessment for your trademark application in the United States. We kindly request the following documentation from you. First is a copy of your logo in digital format. So this aids us in our conduct of due diligence and in our preparation of the search report. Take note that we provide our search report free of charge, and this is where we provide you with an assessment of the registrability of your mark. Then we also need from you an electronic copy of your certificate of registration in your country of origin, if applicable. So this would help us determine the most appropriate filing basis that we can use for your trademark application. Lastly, we require from you your website, social media sites, and marketing materials. So this would help us curate or suggest or draft your specifications. So what are specifications? These are the goods and or services that would be associated with your mark. So please be aware that we will perform a thorough due diligence using the provided requirements. In addition to manual searches, we employ cutting-edge AI-powered software that aids us in assessing the registrability of your mark. So we provide the search reports to the potential clients within 1 to 3 business days. That's reckoned from the date of the meeting or the date of the query. So second requirement, following our comprehensive due diligence, we will proceed to determine the most suitable application basis to utilize for your trademark registration or application. So in the US, we have 4 filing bases. First, we have Section 1A, or actual use. This indicates that you are already using your marks in commerce within the United States. Second is Section 1B, or intent to use. This indicates your intent to use the proposed mark in the US in the future. Okay. And 44D, this refers to a foreign application. So we can use 44D as a filing basis or as the filing basis if you have a pending application, trademark application in your country of origin. But this is actually subject to the 6 months grace period, which I will discuss later on. And then 44D, Section 44D, this refers to foreign registration. So we can use this as a filing basis if you already have your mark registered in your country of origin. So let's discuss them one by one. So for Section 1A, actual use, proof of use within US commerce is essential. So most of the time, a photo of your product bearing the proposed mark would suffice. But examiners usually issue or request for additional information or documentation in cases of uncertainty or when the specimen seems to be a mock-up. So if the specimen that you have provided or you have submitted to the USPTO appears to be a mere mock-up, the examiner would require further documentation, such as the invoices, which would show proof of sales within the United States. And in case you're required to submit your invoices, then we will just redact the sensitive personal information indicated thereon. So in the application form, it is necessary to specify both the first date of use in the United States and in any other location. So there are 2 dates to indicate in the application form. First is the date of first use in the US, and second, the date of first use anywhere else. So, second filing basis is Section 1B or intent to use. Among the four bases, Section 1B has the lengthiest process due to the inclusion of a notice of allowance stage. This is a step that does not exist in the other bases. So, Section 1B incurs an additional official fee because you are required to submit the specimens during the notice of allowance stage. So unlike, this actually differentiates 1B from 1A because in Section 1A, you are required to submit the specimens at the time of the filing of the application because you're already using your mark at that time. Whereas, if we will utilize Section 1B, we will have to submit the specimens later on, and that is during the notice of allowance stage. Because at the time of the filing of the application, you're not yet using your mark in commerce within the United States. So if your mark seems to be merely descriptive, pursuing registration on a supplemental registry is discouraged, especially since it is not permissible for Amazon brand registry. Additionally, please be aware that Section 1B is not a viable option for supplemental registration. So, in conclusion, utilizing Section 1B as the filing basis appears to be the most costly and has the lengthiest processing time among the four filing bases.
Sorry, excuse me. What do you mean by descriptive unique?
Yes, because there are marks which are descriptive. For example, you're applying for a mark comfortable and soft, and you're selling pillows. So that's considered as a descriptive mark. If your mark is descriptive, it cannot qualify or it cannot be registered under the principal registry. But it still can be registered with the USPTO, only that it will qualify under supplemental registry because the mark is weak and because it's not distinctive enough.
If you submit as a text, then it's hard. But if you submit it in a logo, for example.
Yes, actually that's one of our suggestions. If you are using a descriptive or if your mark is descriptive, we would advise you to apply for a stylized mark and with a figurative element or component because that's what makes it distinctive. So for the third filing basis would be Section 44D or foreign application. So if you have submitted an application for the identical trademark and for the same goods and or services in your country of origin, you have the option to select Section 44D as your filing basis. A grace period of 6 months is provided, so beyond the 6-month period, utilizing Section 44D as a filing basis is no longer a viable option. So please be aware that the trademark application from your country of origin should closely match your application in the United States. The application and the details provided in your US application should exhibit a high level of similarity. So for example, you have a brand or you have your mark which you registered in the IFIL or the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines last March 2023. So if you want to apply for that same mark with the USPTO, utilizing 44D as your filing basis would no longer be a viable option. Why? Because the 6-month grace period has already lapsed. It's because it's already December, right? So Section 44E as a filing basis, this refers to a foreign registration. So should you possess a certificate of registration for your mark in your country of origin, it is also admissible as a foundation for submitting a US application under Section 44E. So similar to Section 44D, your certificate of registration must be highly identical with your US application to meet the criteria for acceptance. Under this basis, as well as in the context of Class 44D, specimens are not required at the filing stage and will only be necessitated during the maintenance period. So, unlike Sections 1A and 1B, where you will have to submit your specimens throughout the application or the registration process. The submission of specimens under Section 44D and 44E would occur at a much later stage, that is already post-registration. So that is during the maintenance period. Because during the maintenance period is between years 5 and 6 and years 9 and 10. That is reckoned from the date of the registration of the mark. So during this maintenance period, the registrant is required to submit the Section 8 declaration. So the Section 8 declaration, it is a sworn statement that you are using your mark in commerce within the United States. And also during the maintenance period, the registrant is required to submit specimens to prove or to show evidence of use of the mark in the US.
Sorry, another question. So if I've been in the market in the Philippines for 2 years now and I have registered my trademark, which of the 4 should I go for?
Yes, that's a good question. So if you already have a registered trademark in the Philippines, we can utilize Section 44E and use your certificate of registration in the Philippines as a basis for your US trademark application. And actually, utilizing Section 44E is the most preferred option because, as I mentioned earlier, you will no longer need to submit your specimens during the registration or throughout the registration process, which makes the process easier, faster, and smoother. So third requirement would be to determine whether your mark should be filed under TIS Plus or TIS Standard. So US trademark applications are filed under either TIS Plus or TIS Standard. So how would you know under which to file your application? So as I mentioned earlier, in your application form, there are specifications. These are the goods and or services associated with your mark. So if these goods and or services can be found in the USPTO's Acceptable Identification of Goods and Services Manual, or what we call the ID Manual, then your application may be filed under TIS Plus. But if the specifications or if your specifications cannot be found under the ID Manual, then we have to file your application under TIS Standard. So filing under TIS Standard involves a longer processing time and is more costly because it has an additional fee of around $102. So fourth requirement is to determine whether your mark should be filed as a standard character mark or as a stylized mark. So for you to better understand this, we have provided an illustration, but it's actually corporate. Anyway, but we provided an illustration as can be shown in the slides. So on the right portion or right side of the slide, the mark ABC, that's actually ABC. So the mark ABC is in a stylized font, or it's rendered in a stylized font. So that makes that mark a stylized mark. Whereas the mark ABC at the left side appears to be simple without any stylization. So the mark ABC on the on the left side is a standard character mark. So between applying for a standard character mark or a stylized mark, if your brand or your mark has no figurative element or component, we would advise for you to apply for a standard character mark. Because if you would opt for a standard character mark, then you can incorporate any stylizations or any design or font on your mark at a later time or after registration. So those basically are the requirements for US trademark applications. If you have any inquiries, please feel free to scan the QR code and kindly complete the form linked in the QR. Or you may also you're also welcome to visit our office anytime for a free consultation. Our office and the office of the Ivofil are located in the same area. It is very near the Venice Mall at McKinley. So just some few reminders. Once we have settled these particulars, Accolade will assume the responsibility for submitting your US trademark application and will diligently track any notifications or updates from the USPTO pertaining to your mark. So following the submission of your application, you can visit that link where you will become eligible for a free account management support offered by the Amazon team. Please feel free to provide your details to express your interest in the Amazon Global Selling Program. Subsequently, Amazon's account managers will be in touch to initiate a business review. So please allow the Amazon team to get back to you at least a week after you have completed the form using that link. So that ends my presentation. Thank you for listening, and we at Accolade hope to assist you in your trademark applications in the future.
Alright, thank you so much, Nina, for the informative presentation. Next, I'd like to invite Jaime from One Export, who's going to share with us about shipping logistics.
Okay, thank you for that. So today, if our company is called One Export, but the logistics service that we have, we brand it as Ship It. So if ever I mention Ship It or One Export, it's basically the same thing. So if we talk about selling on Amazon, the first thing that we have to think about is how to send our products to the United States. So whether you're an FBA seller or an FBM seller, you still have to send the products from here to the US. So I'll be talking about the basics of shipping or sending your products from the Philippines to the United States. So if you go through your shipping options, generally there are two categories. The first one, and I would say the easiest one, is through an air courier. And then the second one is through forwarding. So air courier, by the name itself, it's sent via air, it's much faster. And sort of, if you think of the service, this is synonymous with DHL, UPS, FedEx. So that service is basically an air courier service. Once we go to forwarding, these are shipments which are mostly for high volume and high value items. They can be sent via air as well and via sea. The difference is, again, it's high volume and high value. You're sending in bulk now. I'll discuss a bit more, but there are a bit more technicalities when it comes to forwarding. But to determine if you want to send your products to the United States, the easiest way are the two factors of volume and value. So when you talk about volume, we want to determine in terms of the product type. So low volume would be different between two different products. And when we say low volume, these are quantities where we can sort of pass them off as samples or as a personal shipment. So let's say if I am sending bottled fish to the United States, maybe around 20 bottles that could sort of pass off as a personal shipment. But then if I am sending 20 pieces of, I guess, laptops or cell phones, obviously that's a commercial quantity. So that's where we sort of have to determine whether it's a personal shipment or it can pass off as a personal shipment or samples. In terms of low value, the number for the United States that we want you to remember is $800. So if the value of the shipment doesn't exceed $800, it's less likely to be taxed. If any of you have purchased an item from abroad, so let's say you're purchasing from Singapore, you're purchasing from the US, and having it shipped to the Philippines, the item is taxed if it exceeds 10,000 pesos. So for every country, it's different. So for here in the Philippines, the term is de minimis. Our de minimis is 10,000 pesos. For the US, it's $800. So you're much safer if your shipment is less than $800 where it won't be taxed. So I'll go through it a bit more for the next slide. So Ship It Express, this is basically our air courier service. So as what I mentioned, it's via air. Generally, when you send an item via air courier, we declare it as a personal shipment, as a sample, and then as well, it doesn't necessarily need any documentation or any compliance in the destination. We do check the item before it gets sent because each country has a different restrictions. Example, we've had a few shipments where people want to send food stuff to the United Kingdom. In the UK, they're very strict with food items. They want it manufactured in Europe. If it's coming from Asia, they don't want to accept it. In the US, they're quite lenient with food, as long as it has a FDA here in the Philippines to make sure that it's not necessarily it won't have the possibility of, let's say, bringing any pesticides or contaminate anything in the United States. That's what they're looking for. It doesn't need to have an FDA in the United States yet because these are just personal shipments. So once you have inquiries for dried tuyo, those kinds of things, we don't really accept that. That's not allowed. And what happens now is when you send an item to somebody abroad, if they are charged duties and taxes, if US Customs decides to charge them duties and taxes, the recipient will pay for it.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Bakit hindi allowed yung dry tuyo?
Because most probably those that are made here don't have an FDA yet. So if it has an FDA, it should be fine. But more often than not, those items don't have an FDA. Getting back, so if you send an item to somebody in the US or anywhere, if there are any duties and taxes charged by the customs of the destination country, it will be charged to the recipient. It's not kasi something that we can compute ahead of time, because of course it's customs in the destination that determines that. So how are express shipments priced? There is this term that we call chargeable weight. So there's a lot of confusion in some of our clients. We really have to explain it to them. When they want to send item that's very light but bulky, they charge more than the actual weight. That's because of the concept of chargeable weight. So there's volumetric weight versus actual weight. To get the volumetric weight, you just get the dimensions of the product or the box in centimeters, multiply it with each other, divide by 5,000. So that you'll come up with a number. Actual weight is what comes out in the weighing scale. So just two examples. So you have a small box with these dimensions. Let's say the volumetric weight that comes out is 5 kilos. The actual contents of the box are 20 kilos. Relatively straightforward, you'll be charged based on the weight. The next example is, it's Christmas season per month. We have had a lot of shipments of paroles. That's probably the easiest example that I can use. Sort of a light item, but very bulky. So when you get the chargeable weight of the box, it comes out to 25 kilos, but the actual weight is only 5. What happens now is you'll be charged for the box. So to sort of remember, whenever you box an item, there is an automatic minimal charge already because the box has its own chargeable weight. So that's the volumetric weight is basically the minimum charge that you'll be paying. So again, like in this example, if the volumetric weight of this box is 25 kilos, even if your actual weight is 15, you'll be charged 25. But if it exceeds, if it goes to 27, then that's where the actual weight is the basis. So the next option that I'll be talking about is ship it forwarding. So again, there are different options and we have different services for when it comes to forwarding. So we can do generally just sending it out via air or via sea. Again, the difference is just if it's in bulk in via air. We can do a less than container load or a full container load in terms of the shipments. And we also have other services. So let's say in terms of making sure that your items are compliant with the destination country. Some of them would need repacking, some of them would need to, let's say, put stickers and a lot of different SKUs. If you have, let's say, different suppliers here in the Philippines and you're sort of consolidating all of it, we can sort of receive it in our warehouse, put it all together and ship it at the same time. One thing to take note of when you are sending via forwarding is that these are automatically considered as commercial shipments. So when an item is, or when a shipment is considered commercial, there are documents needed. So you have an export license here in the Philippines. You would need, well, this for this example for the US, but this applies for a lot of different countries. You would need an import license in the destination country and make sure that the items are compliant. So if you're sending food, if you're sending cosmetic items, they would need to be compliant in the US. And if ever there are other supporting documents, material safety data sheet, certificate of non-dangerous goods, all of these other things which can apply. The easiest way for me to explain this is if you are traveling to the United States, you need a Philippine passport to exit, and you need a US visa to enter. So that's basically how the import and export license works. It's difficult if you don't have both, because of course the customs will sort of hold the shipment. So when you are sending to Amazon, this is where it gets a bit, sometimes a bit confusing because there's an overlap between an express shipment or an air courier shipment and a forwarding shipment, only because the first thing that we have to take note is that Amazon shipments are considered as commercial shipments. Obviously, if I am a US Customs officer and I'm inspecting a box and I see that the destination address is a warehouse for Amazon, these items will be sold. So it will be considered as commercial, and there's a high chance, even if it doesn't exceed the de minimis of the US, it will be, duties and taxes may be applied. So as what I mentioned, for commercial shipments, the items need to be compliant in the United States. So whether it's food or non-food, so there are just different compliance requirements. And the important thing here to also note is that an importer record is needed. So Amazon, if you think about the platform and how everything is sold, they are not the final recipient of the goods. They're not the owners. They're a holding company, they're a transit point. So they cannot serve now as the importer record. So what will happen is if you are charged duties and taxes, who is customs going to charge? Amazon won't pay for it because they don't own the goods, they're just holding it. I don't think customs has the bandwidth to chase down or let's say look for whoever bought the product. So there needs to be a point person or an importer record. So when we think about how ShipIt or how one export can help you, first thing that we can do is assist with documentation and compliance assistance. We can assist with being the importer record and providing a food facility registration number, and also with bulk shipping. So this one is not necessarily my expertise, but we do have I do have colleagues who help with the compliance. So in terms of getting your US FDA, in terms of food, as long as the items have a US FDA, have a Philippine FDA, and have the proper labels, it's quite quick in terms of getting the US FDA. For non-food, it will have to undergo assessment. A lot of the main reason is because for cosmetic items, there may be some ingredients where the US will consider it a drug. Example is soap. So if it's regular soap, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that needs an FDA. If it's regular soap, I'll double check on that. But the moment if there is an ingredient there that's, let's say, for whitening soap, that's when it could be considered a drug, and we need to go processing and assessment for a US FDA. That's why it's important if you have cosmetic products, we'll really have to assess it first based on the ingredients, the intended use, and the label contents. And if your product is still not compliant here in the Philippines, in terms of timelines, we still have to check in terms of how long it will take, but we can also assist with that. Yeah, sure.
So if I have 5 SKUs, I will need to file 5 the product registration FDA.
Yeah, so it'll have to be for that. And then for, I think this one I'll go back to this slide. For importer record, what happens here in terms of the food facility registration number, we have an FFRN for US FDA. So in terms of if you need to send something initially, it can sort of be tagged under our US FDA, but of course we'd want you guys to register on your own. For the importer record, we have an import license in the United States. So what happens now is, good thing is we haven't had any shipments where any duties and taxes were charged, even if it's tagged as commercial. But we had a client who didn't ship through us, where they sent an item to the US and then that happened. They were charged duties and taxes and they couldn't have a point person. So at least here, if there are any duties and taxes that will be charged, it will just be charged back to you guys after it's delivered. I think there's another question.
Clarification. So the food manufacturing facility needs to have an FDA, US FDA number, correct?
Yeah.
So is that all that we need, or as the gentleman mentioned, do we need to register each SKU, like something like FDA
Oh,
CPR here?
I'll have to check on, that's really not my
That's what I was
expertise.
asking.
Yeah, okay.
to say.
Yeah, that's not really
License
my
to operate
expertise.
is different from FDA CR.
Okay, I think, I remember my colleague mentioning that I think it's the facility.
I think it's the facility.
Yeah,
that's
it's
what
the
I
facility
meant.
that needs to, or the manufacturer, they need to register the facility for USFDA, something like that. Not necessarily the product. Okay. And the last, what I mentioned is bulk shipping. So it's basically straight up freight forwarding, but the difference now that some logistics companies, they can't really offer is they don't have the licenses here in the Philippines or in the United States. So let's say if you go to a freight forwarder, they'll only quote you probably the logistics cost. But in terms of clearance here in the Philippines and in terms of clearance in the United States, that may be out of their scope. So at least with Ship It and with One Export, because we have those licenses, we can include that as well. When you send items, items not allowed, these are just either illegal or just have, let's say, different restrictions, or they would need different documentation. That just brings me to the end of my slides. If you have any questions, feel free naman to approach me in the back. You can also email us, shipit@oneexport.com. We'll be happy to sort of assist you with any of your requirements. And again, I always mention this to whenever I give these talks. We are a service provider, but then we'd like for you guys to think of us as service partners. In terms of helping you guys plan on what to ship out and how to ship out, we'd be happy to help you. Again, just shoot us an email, we can set up a meeting, and for you to really understand the best way of sending your items to the US, we'd be happy to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime, for the presentation. Next, I would like to share with all of you, we invited Registrar Corp to share more about FDA regulations for exporting food and cosmetics. Oh, oops, I realized that.
So to give some background, so Registrar Corp is actually quite closely linked with the government for FDA. So Registrar Corp is based in the US. So if any question regards to FDA, which I heard earlier, you can ask them. They have a Q&A after their sharing. Yeah. So for One Export, what they do is they actually engage agents to assist you guys with FDA. But I think the unique thing about Registrar Corp is they are actually very closely linked to the government. So you can ask them any questions, they can actually approach One Export to help you with your filings if you have to. Okay, yeah, so this is actually our effort in making you guys having close access to the regulatory body, because Registrar Corp is where they are the ones working with the regulatory body in the United States. Yeah, so.
Thanks, Tristan, for our introduction.
Corp. Registrar Corp is a private company in the USA located in Virginia that provides US FDA registration, US agent, and regulatory compliance assistance for US and non-US companies in the food and beverage, medical device, drug, cosmetic, and radiation emitting device industries for more than 20 years. Now we have more than 30,000 clients from more than 175 countries. In this opportunity, I'd like to present US FDA regulation for exporting food and cosmetic to the United States. First, I will explain to you about how does the FDA work. Summit says that FDA approved facilities and products, and they require submissions of labels or an inspection before marketing products. Well, actually, for food and beverages, they are the regulator and enforcer. The enforcement they usually do are inspection, import refusal, import alerts, warning letters, and suspension of registration. The US FDA uses Predict. It's a risk-based analytic tool to electronically screen all regulated shipment imported or offered for import into the United States of America. Predict nearly doubled the percentage of field examinations resulting in violation during its pilot phase. Some examples that can affect a company's Predict score, like invalid registration number, mislabeling, failed FDA facility inspection, consumer complaint, and please take note that it's very important for not making FDA mistake, especially for you who are new to shipping to the USA. Let me explain more detail in the US FDA regulation for exporting food and beverage to the USA. In these presentations, I will explain food facility registration and renewal, prior notice, FC registration, labeling, FSMA, and FSVP. Under the Bioterrorism Act, all facilities, foreign and domestic, that take physical possession of food that's intended for human or animal consumption in the United States must register with the US FDA. Registration is simply the act of providing your facility's information to the US FDA so that the agency can reach you in the event of a food-related emergency. And for foreign facility must designate a US agent to manage routine and emergency communication with the US FDA. Information that needs to be included in the food facility registration is facility information, contact information, product information, and DUNS number. Facilities must renew the registration every 2 years on even numbered year between October 1st and December 31st. Many companies do not realize the registration was canceled until a compliance issue occurs, such as a detention or failed prior notice. In February 2023, the US FDA removed thousands of food facility registrations that were not properly renewed in 2022 from its registration database. Typically, around 10% of registrations are purged. Let me speak about prior notice. Prior notice is notification to the US FDA that should be made before the arrival of food or beverage shipment in the US. It's also required for samples. Fail to file it may result in detentions in the US port. Information about the shipment and the facility will be required when we are filing it. It can be filed by exporter, importer, or third party. Food canning establishment, or we usually call it FC registration. Example of products requiring an FCE registration are shown on this slide. They could be canned, bottled, or come in a Tetra Pak or other sealed package. Company that produce a certified or low acid canned food package in hermetically sealed containers needs an FCE registration. A facility's FCE registration must be linked to a food facility registration, and the data in the two registration must match. These are the categories that require FCE registration. Our FCE Wizard platform allows you to generate a free report with potential requirements for individual product based on the pH level, water activity, ingredients, and more. Registrar Corp SID verifier tool makes it easy to confirm whether your SIDs are on file in the FDA database. Now let me speak about labeling. Improper labeling on your food products can be costly, especially if your goods are detained in port. Products that do not meet FDA labeling regulation must be relabeled in port or refuse entry. These are some examples in mandatory label content: statement of identity, net quantity of content, nutrition facts or supplement facts, ingredient list, identity of the manufacturer, packer or distributor, country of origin, allergen declaration, adverse event contact for supplements, and many more. Conventional food and beverage must include a nutrition facts label. Dietary supplement must include a supplement facts label. Content will vary depending on the nutrition and other dietary ingredients present. Some modification permitted for small packages. Now I'll be moving to our Food Safety Modernization Act or FSMA. FSMA aims to ensure the U.S. food supply is safe by shifting the focus of federal regulators from responding to contaminations to preventing it. Under the FSMA is the Preventive Control Rule. All food facilities for consumption in the USA must write and implement a food safety plan or hazard analysis and risk-based preventive controls or HARPC. If a company does not create a food safety plan per FDA requirements, there might be a regulatory action from the FDA, including warning letters, detentions of products at port of entry, suspension registration, and import alerts. HACCP plan do not meet all requirements under the HARPC plan, but they may provide a good base to build on. A food safety plan must be written by a preventive control qualified individual or PCQI. Such an individual would have successfully completed a standardized FDA training to become a PCQI or be otherwise qualified through job experience. Foreign Supplier Verification Program, FSVP. Foreign Supplier Verification Program for U.S. importer of foods such as human food, dietary supplements, produce, LSCF, animal food, and sample for trade shows. Importers need to check each and every supplier's food safety plan in order to become in compliance with FSVP requirements. Risk-based foreign supplier verification activities to verify that food is produced in compliance with the applicable FDA regulations. Food is not adulterated. Food is not misbranded concerning food allergens. Food will be detained at the port if a U.S. owner or consignee or a U.S. representative is not identified during customs entry. So please take note that FSVP US importer is not the same as importer of record for CBP. FDA requirement is not CBP requirements. FSVP US importer must be physically present in the United States, and it cannot be an empty office space, mailbox, or answering machine. And the US FDA will visit the FSVP importer for inspection. FSVP importer identification at entry. The FSVP importer must ensure that they are properly identified at entry for the food they import. FSVP importer information required by custom at entry is FSVP importer name, email address, UFI recognized as acceptable by FDA, like DUNS number. Registrar Corp provides a full range of fixed compliance services, such as registrations of U.S. agent and U.S. agent service, prior notice filings, labeling, ingredients and product review, LSCF, food safety and FSMA compliance services, detention assistance, and DWPE detention submission. Now let me continue to the Modernization of Cosmetic Regulation Act of 2022, or MOCRA. In this section, I will cover registration, listing, and adverse event reporting. MOCRA mandates registration for owners and operators of facilities that manufacture or process cosmetic products for U.S. distribution. Existing facilities will have 1 year from the date of enactment, which was December 29 of 2022, to register their facility with the U.S. FDA. New facility that manufacture or process cosmetic products for distribution in the U.S. must register within 60 days of marketing the products or 60 days after the deadline of existing facilities, whichever is later. Company must notify FDA within 60 days of changes to their registration information, and FDA registration are now renewed every other year. Foreign company must designate a U.S. agent as part of the registration. Facility must obtain the FDA Establishment Identifier, or FEI, before starting the registration submission. The US FDA requested additional optional information to be submitted, such as parent company name, facility DUNS number, additional contact information. A responsible person must submit cosmetic product listing for each cosmetic product to the FDA. A single product listing may include multiple cosmetic products that differ only with respect to colors, fragrances, flavors, and or quantity of contents. The responsible person must renew a product listing annually with any updates. Who should submit the product listing? It's anyone whose names appear on the label. It can be the brand owner, manufacturer, packager, or repackager, or even distributor, as long as their name appears on the product label. MOCRA adds an additional labeling requirement in the form of contact, to which a consumer can submit an adverse event report. While this has been fairly common in industry up to this point, this is the first time that it's actually required for cosmetic products. It must be a US domestic address, US domestic phone number, or an electronic contact, which might be a website. FDA will also be established a list of fragrance allergens in the next few years, for which a labeling requirement is being imposed. Companies will have to disclose certain fragrance allergens on their cosmetic label. FDA has not given any guidance yet as to how industry will be expected to meet this requirement. Adverse event reporting. The responsible person shall receive reports of adverse event through the domestic address, domestic telephone number, or electronic contact information included on the label. In the event of serious adverse event associated with a cosmetic product from use in the US to FDA within 15 business days. Report to the FDA new and material medical information received for 1 year of the initial report to the FDA. FDA has long had the authority to inspect cosmetic facilities. FDA has the authority to access records relating to a cosmetic product under certain circumstances. FDA may request a list of ingredients in a product's fragrances or flavors if they may have contributed to a serious adverse event. Record access does not include cosmetic formulas and recipes, administrative or research data. FDA does not have inspection authority to access financial data or sales data. In regard to mandatory recall, if FDA determines there is a reasonable probability that a cosmetic is adulterated or misbranded, and the use or exposure to such cosmetic will cause a serious adverse health consequences or death, the Secretary shall provide the responsible person with an opportunity to voluntarily cease the distribution and recall such article. If the responsible person refuses to or does not voluntarily cease distribution or recall such cosmetic, FDA may issue a mandatory recall. FDA's electronic submission portal opens October 2023. Facility registration will require an FEI number prior to registration submission. The responsible person will need FEI numbers to submit the product listing. Registration and listing data will be required to be submitted electronically using Structured Product Label or SPL. Cosmetic product facility registration and product listing will be available using the same electronic submission process available to register, establish, and list a drug with FDA. FDA is also developing a paper form as an alternative submission tool. Preparing for portal launch. If you are an owner or operator of a facility, obtain an FDA Establishment Identifier, FEI. If you are a facility outside the United States, obtain a US agent now. If you are a responsible person, request FEI numbers from facilities that manufacture or process your cosmetic products. Responsible person should begin to name their cosmetic products per cosmetic product categories and code lists. If unfamiliar with SPL submission, make sure to obtain an authorized third-party service agent to help with the submission. Registrar Corp's team of a cosmetic regulatory specialists have created the MOCRA wizard, so companies can easily determine which MOCRA requirement apply to them. How can Registrar Corp help? FDA compliance doesn't need to be a challenge. Whether you are a brand owner, contract manufacturer based in the US or in another country, Registrar Corp can help you understand how the Modernization of Cosmetic Regulation Act affects your business. We provide assistance in facility registration and US agent service, product listing with annual update, label review, adverse event reporting, Cosmetry product manager software, Cosmetry GMP software, ISO 22716. You may contact us at the following number or email address. In the US, we are located in Virginia, or you may send us an email to our HQ or our regulatory advisor representative for the Philippines at indonesia@registrarcorp.com. That brings to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and see you.